Hi, everybody. It is 6:40, so we will start the Zoning Board of Appeals hearing. And our first item of business from Attorney Peter Lane is that a request for another continuance for the Masterson Road project.
Thanks so much. Another continuance. Thank you. We're in good shape, however. I just had a call with attorney Nate Tripp, who will hopefully be representing my client's abutter. And so we are in the process of acquiring a frontage parcel that should provide my client with adequate frontage for a special permit request for conversion to a two-family home. We are going to need more time to complete all of that. And so I'm hoping if we could continue this to December 5th, we should be able to get an A&R plan on file with the planning board. Their next meeting is the last Wednesday of the month, which is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So I don't know if that is going to get complicated for them. But if it is, then I may have to ask for a further continuance. I don't know if maybe we just want to continue this to January just to be safe.
Do you have a preference?
I think I'd appreciate the time. So if, and my clients are on board with this, if we could just go to your next hearing in January, then I think that'll probably be for the best.
Okay, let me just grab a 2025 calendar.
It's gonna be January 2nd.
Yes, it would be January 2nd.
That could be tricky in terms of
Yeah,
a weekend or long weekend for anybody or everybody.
yeah. Would you do a different night in the month of January or?
We can. Yeah, especially with that kind of lead time. What about the 9th? Does that work for people?
It's gonna
Works
work
for
for
me.
Kristen because I'm not on that decision.
Kristen, you're muted. Or you don't have any sound.
Yeah, you can't hear me at all?
I
Yes,
can
we can.
now.
Yeah, something's wrong with my speakers. I have to talk really loud. But yes, I'm available.
And Roger, for you?
Yes,
Okay, so why don't we
Wonderful.
continue to January 9th? And Roger, can you remind me, do we need to vote on that for the continuance?
yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion to entertain the request to continue this hearing till January 9th?
I move to continue the hearing to January 9th.
A second? Kristen is saying yes. Okay, so all in favor of continuing? Aye. Okay, so we are continued to January 9th and we'll make an agenda to that. And shall we make that, if we do have other matters for January, shall we make that our meeting?
Yes,
Okay, all right, so I will make a note of that and get an agenda
Great.
as we get closer to it.
All right. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Happy holidays and see you in the new year.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, okay, Fred is here and Stephen Casey is here. Okay. So we had put on the agenda to talk with Sherry La about the white birch at 6:50. So I think we have to wait until 6:50 to be able to do that. So if people want a break for 5
well, we could do the minutes. We could approve the minutes.
We could approve the minutes, yes. So, did anyone who read the minutes have any changes?
I just had Deborah on the third one.
Okay, can you give me
oh.
the date, Bob?
The June 26th.
Okay, I need to duck out for a minute and get June 26th. I'll be right back. Okay,
Yeah, if you just scroll down all the way to the bottom, there's a number 3 on documents reviewed, but there's nothing for number
is that just,
3.
is that just a typo, Roger?
That's a typo.
Okay, perfect.
All right, let me just take that off. Let me save it. Did anyone have anything else on the other minutes?
Nope.
I did not either. Okay, so we can, let me get back to our, whoop. Where are you? Oh, okay, so, can we vote to approve the minutes in total?
I think so.
Okay, so can I have a motion to vote to approve those three, separate minutes?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes as written with that one typo corrected?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Excellent, minutes are passed. So we have,
Deborah, I have a question. So how do we get those, or how do you get those into the town clerk?
I'm going to send them to the town clerk and ask them to be posted to the town website.
Okay,
And I will do that actually tomorrow.
great.
Thank you, Roger, so much for doing those.
Thanks, Roger.
You're welcome. And I'm doing tonight's also.
Thank you. January 9th.
Double your salary.
Yeah.
Right.
Triple.
Okay. So we have 3 minutes to go.
Are you going to stop the screen share?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
It's funny because I got out of it. Is everybody back?
Yep,
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bob.
sure.
I had actually stopped it apparently only for myself.
We've learned of the dangers of screen sharing. At the
Yes.
last trustees meeting, we were Zoom bombed.
Yes,
Really?
Roger, I can tell you that. We had a
It
Zoom
was really
bomb.
bad. It was really pornographic and awful.
Why would someone do that?
I don't
They
know.
can. That was the first time in since all the Zooming that I have done since the pandemic and everything else, that's the first time that happened.
Yeah, so what do you have to do?
Well,
Cindy kicked him out.
yeah, the first thing we did was the librarian called Shelburne Control and alerted the state police that it had happened. And then I called immediately in the morning and I got Jessica because Pete was at a meeting. And what I discovered is that all of these video recordings are given to FCAT as a courtesy. It is not required by law. The only thing required by law is the minutes. So they're not going to upload that particularly interesting version of the library trustee meeting.
I mean, I haven't been a library trustee for all that long, but I've never seen anyone attend the meeting who wasn't a trustee. So that was a surprise in and of itself that somebody wanted to come in.
Yeah, right.
So,
But there's some protocols that Pete taught Cindy about being able to avoid that or stop it quickly in terms of immediate screen sharing versus total control by the host. And I think she's got it. So that is a step toward, fixing the situation. Would it occur in the future if it were to occur?
thank you. So it is 6:50, and so what we have, the last item on our agenda tonight is Sherry La Diallo is here and has some questions. There's not a formal application before the ZBA. Sherry La, it's nice to actually see you and meet you after talking on the phone. So would you like to go ahead and ask your questions? You are muted.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you all for having me over here, and it's nice to meet you. My name is Sharila. Deborah, just really quickly. Oh yeah, so Kevin is also here. Stephen is here. So Stephen is the town's assessor.
Yes, I
Really
know
quick
his
on.
name. Hello,
Perfect.
Stephen.
Yeah, perfect. So my name is Sharila. I am in the process of doing my due diligence to potentially buy the White Birch Campground. And so I actually spoke to Deborah maybe a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, about the um, my plans for the campground, and I wanted to consult the zoning board about what is allowed and what is not allowed in the campground. Um, so would it help if I run through a slide of plans that I have so that you can get a picture of what I'm trying to do in the campground?
Um, I'm that would first of all, my apologies for mispronouncing your name initially. And
No worries.
that's sure, sure. But
Yeah.
I would let me make you. So you have that deck in front of you?
Yes, I just need to share.
Yes, I'm going to do that right now.
Mm, oh, how do I do this? Okay, share.
Okay, so you should be all set.
Okay. Just needs to move this really quick. Okay, that's better. So if and when I would take over the campground, we will be changing the name to Willow Fields Campground. This is the proposed name. So far, it could change. I have no idea. But the new concept of the campground is basically an RV and tent camping, glamping, and hopefully cafe and event space all in one. So our purpose is to basically, our objective is to create a campground that uh, caters to the campers that will pass through, but also hopefully opening a community space for the town of Whately and the local communities to enjoy the resources in terms of outdoor recreational activities that the campground can offer. So I don't know if anybody of you have been to the campground before. Probably seen from the outside, but I have a little bit of a slide here just to show you what give you a little bit of a clearer plans that I have, at least for phase one. So our objective is to create a place where our campers and the community can create beautiful memories together while preserving the beauty of the land. If you walk into the campground as you enter, you'll see the lodge right here. This is kind of like where the campers check in and register to get into the campground. And what I plan to do here is basically change the roofing and clean up the furniture and clean up pretty much the whole area. And across the campground, you'll see the pool area. So this space right here is kind of where I am kind of looking at what I wanted to ask you later on, if it is allowed to do it. So this is the inside of the lodge area, which is the lower part of the floor. Right now, there's a lot of furniture there, but I'm gonna clean that up and basically clean the windows, clean the whole area. And my plan for this space is kind of make it into a split space. The right side, which is this side right here, would be a farm and floral store. And also like little things that the campers would need that they could come in and get their supplies there. And in this side right here where the ping pong table is, I was thinking of putting a little bit of a cafe there where I can serve coffee and teas, paninis, baked goods, ice cream, something along this, like kind of a built-in bar type thing. So those are the plans that I have for the inside of the lodge. For the outside, so this is the lodge right here. And across the way is the pool. It looks a little distorted because it's a panoramic view, but this is exactly what you would see if you look outside of the straight shot to the pool. So I am an owner of a food concession business. I have a commercial kitchen just 10 minutes up the road in the Franklin County Fairgrounds. So I have two concession booths and one food truck. And from time to time, I was hoping to put the food truck over here on this side and put these umbrellas around this area and around the pool. And this is kind of like where I would, you know, think that the community can come and enjoy the view and relax and, order from the food truck, something like that. And just, it's a beautiful spot. So, it'd be great to open it to the community so they can also enjoy it. So just to describe the food truck is it's small, it's non-obtrusive, it's 16 feet by 8 feet, it's self-contained, and it's slightly bigger than a minivan. It's just a little bit taller, and it has everything. It's been approved by the Board of Health in a lot of towns that I go to every single year. So just to give you a little bit of a, what I mean when I say food truck, it's not like the big one, it's a really small one. And it can fit in that area that I was pointing at. So from the field, you'll see this side right here. So this side is the one that I was thinking of putting the umbrella and the picnic tables in, like this kind of, this is how more or less it's going to look. So as you can see, there's no permanent structures. I'm not planning to build any permanent structures. It's all going to be just tables and chairs and umbrellas and a food truck that's highly portable. It has wheels, so it can go in and out of the campground. The next slide is, so I also want to do community outdoor movie nights and supper clubs. I think the town would really appreciate that if we have that, once a month or something, something to do and make some memories with our friends in the beautiful summer night. And if you look at the meadow right here, this is basically where the willow is. And this is kind of like where I would propose a special events gathering. And I was at the town of Whately today in the municipal hall, and I asked them about the AR1, AR2 distinction. And I believe the campground is AR1, if I am not mistaken. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to be here, because I wanted to basically ask you, like, what's the difference between the AR1 and AR2, and why is it that there are special permits that are allowed in AR1 and there are permits that are not allowed in AR2? So I guess that was my first question. And so I am proposing that, because this area is open and it has a beautiful willow tree, that I could hold some weddings here. Now, this wedding venue that I'm talking about is not going to be a structure. It's going to be something like this. A tent, and then they can get married there. And I'm presuming that most of these clientele that are going to come here to have their weddings are also going to be campers, because maybe most of the reason in my survey that, like, people love taking campground as a venue now for their weddings, because they can have everybody stay in the campground and they can be all together. For their families that are traveling from far away, it's more economical for them to have it in something like this. And everything is rolled into basically one. They can have everything in just one place. So no permanent structure, again, non-obtrusive to any environmental concerns. Obviously I will be willing to work if I get a special permit with the board to, limit the time, the quiet time. I think it's 10 o'clock. So, if there is going to be a wedding that's going to be happening there, it will have to end at that time. It's not going to change anything because, the tent is collapsible, portable. We can remove that afterwards. So that's the other plan that I have for the campground. And if we need more bathrooms, there's always these portable potties that are luxurious, and it's actually really beautiful. Sometimes when I go to places, this bathroom is better than the regular bathroom. So that's the option. And again, no permanent structure. It's just everything portable. And and also there's this problem with these abandoned trailers that are on the campground right now that I saw in Mrs. Reed's files, that there were some violations and stuff because it's just abandoned and stuff. So I have plans for those as well. Well, some of them are non-salvageable. They need to go. So we're gonna give it to people. We're just going to give it away if we can't reuse it. But for those trailers that I can reuse, I want to hire local artists to actually make this as an art piece and make murals on these portable dwellings, like something like this, so that it's not just a piece of metal in the middle of the woods. It's going to be something that's more interesting to stay at. And it's going to draw a lot of people. It can be like a showcasing the local artists as well. So that's pretty much what I have planned so far. I guess the concern is, I'm going to stop sharing this so I can see you all.
Okay, I'm gonna change your status back. So,
Okay.
okay.
Stop sharing. Oh, shoot. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for making that presentation. I think the first thing that we need to do is to take a look at what the bylaws actually say can be done there.
Right.
So I have them ready to bring up. So I'm going to share the screen, and the big document. So I'm going to go to page 9. And I need to, I'm sorry, to adjust because of the way things are listed here. All right. 8 and 9. Okay. So eat-in restaurants, bars, or lounges for serving food or drinks inside the building is allowed by special permit in AR1, not in AR2, and by special permit in the other zones. But that is just eat in. Bars or lounges for serving foods or drink inside the building. But takeout or drive-in food is not allowed in either one of those zones. So, our other members are here tonight, so what do we think?
We have a specific listing for campgrounds?
I do not. Public parks, playgrounds, or other public recreational facilities. I don't think we do. I believe that white birch, when that came before us, was a vested use. Bob, do you recall that?
Deborah, on page 10,
Page 10.
yeah, outdoor commercial recreation, including but not limited to camping areas and golf courses.
Thank you, Bob. Okay.
Yep.
special permit, okay,
Mhm,
in both of those.
mhm. And then
So
and believe the last one also could apply,
the last one,
the very last one.
I'm not, which last one are you referring
The
to?
very last clause on the, if you go all the way down to page, I wanted to scroll it down, but it's not in my control, but it's the
No, it's not.
last page. It's not the
Page
last page, but
13.
it's the number
Page
one.
13, page 13.
Page 13.
Yeah, others. Right here. Other principal uses where the physical appearance, operation, traffic.
Closely resemble a use permitted by right or special permit, and which shall not have a detrimental impact on adjacent or nearby uses. You know, it is up to the applicant to make the argument when you file your application and to say and to tell the board, make the case to the board why we should see that. If you we want to give you guidance, we absolutely do, but we can't give you a decision. You haven't made a
The application.
application.
Yes.
There are so is that what you're thinking?
I was thinking of actually checking both of those boxes when I apply for the application, the outdoor recreation and then the last one also.
So if I could ask you a question, your
Sure.
plan currently, is it, do I have it correct, is to rent the space from the current owner?
Right. So yes, so basically we have two options. And I am kind of trying to really rush through my due diligence because I would rather buy it than rent it. But she's offering me that option to rent it. To lease to own pretty much, but she's giving me at least a year. I just kind of like I might take that option just because of I want to see what's the better financing that I could get out there. And usually that
So
takes
as far as that first option, the renting, our working knowledge with the board, and again, we're not voting tonight, but would be as a renter, you're simply stepping in the shoes of the current permit holder and would be obligated under all the terms and conditions of the existing permit.
correct. Yes,
And
and
you,
that's yes, go ahead.
yeah, and that you wouldn't be free to expand the use into some of the areas that you were talking about, frankly.
Right.
So, you know, the issue is what is a campground and what is intended when the bylaws say you can have, it's actually called camping areas. And you seem like a creative person, so it would be up to you to make that argument in conjunction with everything you know. And times have passed on since I was an active camper, and so destination weddings at campgrounds, that's new information to me. We have a board that is susceptible to taking new information and trying to understand it and be modern with the times. But as Deborah states, yes, any potential expansion as an owner would be with you having read the bylaws, which it seems like you've done, making your best argument, keeping in mind the neighbors and neighbors and the butters are going to have a right to speak at any future hearing. As long as I've got the floor. So the AR1, AR2 distinction, at least with those two items that we've just looked at, it doesn't make a distinction between those two. It's a special permit for either of those zones. Whereas the restaurant use that Deborah was talking about did make a distinction. And
Right.
just to briefly answer your question, in years gone by, there was no such thing as an AR2. It was all AR1. Then the bylaws were expanded to create this AR2 zone. The general sense is it's a more protective zone than the AR1, but that's all based on what the bylaw says that is or is not allowed there.
Mhm.
But if it's allowed in both, that doesn't really seem to be a problem for you if that's where you're going.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I know that I'd be able to do these services within the campgrounds and the campers, but I would like to be able to open the resources to the community. So that was where I was kind of wanted to talk to you, to the board about and see what I can do and can't do. And I'm willing to work with, when in at the right time or the time that I will be purchasing or renting and taking over the special permits. I will be working closely with the board and making sure that I am, following the rules and taking all the parameters, including the noise level and the disturbance, and keeping everything in, peaceful and harmonious and not,
Well,
obtrusive to the community. Yeah.
and that it is important to talk to the neighbors about a project like this. I'm still not sure about, the food truck. There's still a no for takeout food in these two areas. And the other issue that to keep in mind is that, the zoning board approves or doesn't approve as to use. But many other factors would go into a special permit, including the fact of, like, in terms of how many trailers could actually be there. And for that, we would have to rely on the Conservation Commission. That location is lovely, but it's in a swamp.
Yeah.
And we have restrictions on how many trailers can be on it right now.
Yeah.
And based on what their recommendations were.
Mhm.
And the other issue for a moment now, because I have this screen, do people need these bylaws up anymore?
I'm good.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay. The other issue is that there have been significant health violations. I do see that we have Fran Fortino as the chair of the Board of Health is here. I don't know, Fran, if you have anything to say or if you're just listening. Well, his mic is.
Just listening for now, but I'm sure should be well aware of these health issues, which
Yes.
will make your plans a bit more difficult if it comes to that. So
Right.
including septic size, function that may have to change if you were to have events. Obviously, you need a bigger system, etc. So keeping that in mind.
So, I guess my question about that is that right now there's 3 septic systems.
Yeah.
And I think the way that they get rid of the system or the waste right now is through pumping as
Yes.
frequent as needed. So is that system not going to be able, like, what's the size of the
I don't know what you're proposing exactly numbers, like of a huge wedding. Again, if it's porta potties and they're being taken off site, it's probably not going to be a problem, but
right?
if you had a permanent facility there that was going to be in use all the time, I guess the only, because you had mentioned something about having a kitchen in the lodge. Is that
No,
not
I
in-
have a commercial kitchen in Greenfield. So basically what's gonna happen is everything's gonna be prepared in Greenfield and then
Mhm.
just bring it to the campground and everything's gonna go back to the Greenfield commercial kitchen where we're gonna do the dishes, the wastewater and everything.
Mhm. Yeah.
Deborah, we're getting very close to conducting a hearing.
Yes, we are, and we really can't, thank you,
You
Bob.
can't do
we
that.
really Can't do that. If you're going, you just keep in mind that there's going to be limits on how many trailers can be there.
Sure, yeah.
That's going to be a given, and
Sure.
you want to, And that if you want to make an application,
Sure.
there will have to be extensive plans for that. Now, there are some people here, somebody has raised a hand. So does somebody wish to speak? Who's here tonight? A
Yes,
hand.
yes.
Okay.
I'm
Could you
Brenda
identify
Clemens.
yourself, please?
I'm Brenda Clemens. I was part of the original ownership prior to who owns it now. And I think this would be a marvelous improvement. The plans you
Okay,
had proposed. Like right now, the campgrounds is a dump.
Yeah.
And Bob knows today was one of my plans.
I'm sorry, ma'am, we are having a very difficult time hearing you, but I register that you think this would be a good idea. Again, this is not a hearing.
Yeah, I understand that, but I wanted to encourage the investigation to allow her to do this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? And Stephen, did you have anything that you wanted to say about in your capacity as an assessor? You are muted.
Yes, hello. Oh,
Hi.
first of all, hello, everyone. If we have not met, I'm Stephen Casey, the Assistant Assessor. So yes, this afternoon we spoke at length, looking at the different designations for zoning. And going back to the special permits for commercial use, it seems like this would fall under the AR1 designation, in my estimation. Of course, I'm not the expert on these zoning bylaws, which are quite lengthy, by the way. So congrats to everyone who put in the work to put these together. I guess see a great potential in this endeavor and what it will bring to the community. Again, I know that this is not a hearing, but from an assessing point of view, I think that designation is appropriate and would, I guess, support the endeavor.
Thank you.
Okay, so at this point, you know what you would need to do. You need to, in the long email that I sent you, you know where the applications are and
Yeah.
how you would need to prepare that.
Yeah.
And to make the case. Again, we did put restrictions on how many trailers could be on the property, and that would be something to be considered as well when you make your application.
So just a quick question, Deborah. The trailers you're talking about are the ones that you allow people can rent for 14 days? Is that the trailer that you're talking about?
I don't have that. I don't have
Okay.
the special permit before us. I know that there would be limits on how many trailers could be there because of the nature of the topography.
Okay.
And I know you got a message from Brant of the chair of the planning board about the fact that the floodplain is, I mean, that's a flood zone.
Yeah.
And that's something to have
Yeah.
in mind when you make your application.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely. The flood zone is actually a part where, are you worried about a building structure being built? That's why, or?
No, as he said, the whole state is in the process of updating their flood maps. And that's very much something you want. And it's a lot of wetlands down there. So there are going to be restrictions that the Conservation Commission will walk you through as well.
Yeah. I'm having a meeting with them on November 20th.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that's as far as we can go at this point with your questions.
I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, Fred.
Deborah, I have a question. The bylaws in the very beginning, the purpose applies to inhabitants of the town of Whately. the property owner here, I don't know who it is. The property owner, it seems, should be involved in this process, in this change in use, not somebody that's going to rent from them. I
Well,
mean,
we don't have anything before us, Fred. We don't have an actual, we don't have any kind of application before us.
Right.
right, I understand that, but it should involve, or as a minimum, the property owner, not just somebody that wants to come in town and rent. I mean, that's what the use is. Look at the bylaws that protect the inhabitants of Whately, not a resident from somewhere else, not a renter from somewhere else.
I have been in Mrs. Reed have been involved in the whole process, and she knows that I'm doing my due diligence and I'm asking questions to people that are concerned. So she knows.
Well,
Yes.
Okay, so I think,
okay.
as I say, I think that's as far as we can go without without an application before us.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate your time.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good night, all.
good
night.
night. So I believe that that does conclude our business tonight, unless anyone else has something. Okay, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everybody. As it stands now, we'll meet in January, on January 9th will be our next hearing.
See them.
Good night. I'm going to stop the recording.